What would happen if a new Big Bang were already happening right now? Have you ever wondered if the universe really is expanding, or if it might be doing just the opposite? For decades, scientists believed that the universe was growing steadily, pushing galaxies apart and expanding space-time as a direct result of the Big Bang. But what if this expansion was slowing down? What if the universe was about to collapse in on itself, in an event so extreme it could erase existence as we know it? Some signs are subtle, almost imperceptible to most people, but not to scientists. Deviations in the speed of separation of galaxies, unexpected changes in gravitational force, and even fluctuations in cosmic background radiation. Some believe this may be evidence that the universe is heading toward a state of contraction, and that the next Big Bang may not be billions of years away. It may already be underway. But what would this really mean for us? Space, time, and even the laws of physics could be completely distorted. If the universe is compressing, time may begin to slow down, or even reverse. And the most frightening thing, if a new Big Bang really is about to happen, it could destroy everything that exists, or give rise to something completely new. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think the universe really could be collapsing, or is this evidence just a coincidence? Comment below what you think. Your theory may be closer to the truth than you think. Science still doesn't have all the answers to this mystery, but some recent theories indicate something that could change everything. Are we about to witness something unprecedented in history? Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you will have an answer that may challenge everything we believe. The Big Bang is the event that gave rise to everything we know. About 13.8 billion years ago, the entire universe was compressed into an extremely dense and hot point, smaller than an atom. This point contained all the matter and energy that today form galaxies, stars, planets, and even you. Suddenly, for reasons that science cannot yet fully explain, that point collapsed and exploded in rapid, violent expansion. But the term explosion is not the most accurate. There was no sound or light as in a common explosion, because space and time themselves were born at that moment. There was no outside for the universe to expand, because the Big Bang did not happen in pre-existing space. Space was created along with it. The temperature was so high in the first moments that particles such as protons and neutrons were barely able to form. In the first microseconds, the universe was an ocean of boiling plasma, with particles colliding at extreme speeds. Only after hundreds of thousands of years, when the temperature dropped sufficiently, did the first atoms begin to form, allowing light to finally travel freely through space. This moment is what scientists call cosmic background radiation, a kind of echo of the Big Bang that can still be detected today. And that's how the first stars and galaxies were born, shaping the universe as we know it today. But what caused this initial expansion? Why did the universe go from a point of singularity to an expansion that still continues today? This is one of the biggest questions that science is still trying to answer. But what if the universe isn't simply expanding, it's breathing? For billions of years, we believed that the universe was constantly growing, an infinite and irreversible process. What if this expansion was only half the cycle? What if the universe was about to go the other way, like a living organism that, after taking a deep breath, must inevitably exhale? Some scientists believe that the universe may not be headed toward eternal growth, but rather toward total collapse, a catastrophic process known as the Big Crunch. The Big Crunch theory suggests that the universe may not continue expanding forever. Instead, the gravitational force caused by the mass of galaxies, stars, and dark matter may eventually overcome the expansion and start pulling everything back toward the center. Initially, The universe would slow down almost imperceptibly, but as gravity became dominant, the rate of contraction would increase. Galaxies would begin to collide, stars would collapse, and black holes would become increasingly dense, sucking in everything around them. In the final stage, the universe would become a chaotic environment, where matter would be crushed to the limits of known physics. Light would disappear, time would become irrelevant, and the fundamental laws that sustain reality would cease to function. Some scientists believe that this phase could generate temperatures so extreme that subatomic particles would be destroyed, leaving only raw energy on the brink of a new cycle. What makes the Big Crunch even scarier is that certain signs are already being observed. Galaxies are slowing down in some regions of the universe, and some mathematical models indicate that the influence of dark energy, which drives expansion, may be starting to weaken. Have you ever noticed how everything we believe about the universe could just be an illusion? For centuries, we thought the universe was infinitely expanding, growing without a final destination. But now, some evidence suggests that this expansion may be slowing, or even reversing. What's even scarier is that if the Big Crunch really is underway, maybe there is no way to escape. What if this reality we live in is just a repetitive cycle of creation and destruction, with no real beginning or end? If the universe can simply collapse and restart indefinitely, what does that say about our role within it? These are questions that science cannot yet fully answer, but it is exactly these questions that make the search for the unknown so fascinating. If you've made it this far, it's because you're different from most people. Few have the courage to face this kind of truth and try to understand what is behind the reality that surrounds us. Then, if this type of reflection challenges you and makes you question what you know about the universe, leave your like now. This shows YouTube that this content is relevant and allows more curious people like you to discover these hidden theories. That's how we're able to keep bringing this kind of rare and unsettling content to you. If this is true, the collapse process may have already begun, and we may be witnessing the first stages of the end of the universe. But what would happen if this was already underway? Everything we know about the cosmos suggests a cycle of birth and death. Stars arise and explode, galaxies form and collapse, black holes are born and disappear. But what if this cycle wasn't limited to just stars and galaxies? What if the universe itself was trapped in an eternal cycle of creation and destruction, where the end of everything isn't really an end at all, but the beginning of something even greater? Some evidence suggests that the universe may be doing just that. The Big Bounce theory suggests that the Big Bang was not the absolute beginning of the universe, but just one phase in an infinite cycle of expansion and collapse. Rather than an isolated event, the Big Bang could be the direct result of a previous collapse, a universe that reached the limit of its expansion and then collapsed, generating a new phase of growth. In this model, the universe is not simply an expanding system. It is trapped in an eternal cycle of birth and death. This radically changes our perception of time and the origin of the universe. If the Big Bang was just the last rebirth of an endless cycle, the very concept of beginning and end becomes irrelevant. For traditional physics, time is seen as linear. It flows from a starting point to an ending point, but if the universe is in a constant cycle of death and rebirth, time could be circular, with no beginning or end. This raises uncomfortable questions about the very meaning of existence. If the universe has already gone through infinite cycles of creation and destruction, everything we know, galaxies, stars, planets, entire civilizations, may have existed in earlier versions of an earlier universe. The most disturbing thing is that some evidence already supports this theory. Certain deviations and unusual patterns in the cosmic microwave background suggest that the universe may carry the echo of past cycles, marks left by previous states of existence. Furthermore, the unusual behavior of some black holes raises the hypothesis that they may contain information from previous cycles, although the exact nature of this process remains a mystery. What makes the Big Bounce even more unsettling is that, if this theory is correct, the universe we live in now could be approaching the next transition point. But what if the next cycle was already starting now? If the universe really is in an endless cycle of creation and destruction, does that mean we've lived through this moment before? What's more, if time is cyclical and the universe has gone through infinite rebirths, could our own memories, thoughts, or even our consciousness be fragments of previous realities? Now think about this. What if you had already lived this same life in a previous cycle and were just reliving it all over again without realizing it? It's unsettling to imagine that everything you know, your choices, your mistakes, even your feelings, could be on repeat forever. So I want to know what you think about this. Do you believe that the universe is in an infinite cycle of rebirth? Or do you think the end will be definitive? Leave your comment below. I want to know how far your theory about the true cycle of the universe goes. If a new Big Bang were truly approaching, the effects on Earth and the solar system would be devastating and possibly irreversible. The increasing gravitational force would directly affect the solar system, causing instability in the planet's orbits. The Earth could be pulled off course or drawn toward the Sun, resulting in extreme temperatures and the complete destruction of the atmosphere. Gravitational pressure would also affect the Earth's crust, causing earthquakes and volcanic eruptions on a scale never seen before. The oceans could be sucked into the planet's interior, while the Earth's core would begin to become unstable, releasing thermal energy in an uncontrolled manner. But the most alarming effect would be the distortion of the laws of physics. Time could begin to flow erratically, slowing down or even going backwards. Matter under this extreme pressure could begin to fall apart at the atomic level, compromising the very structure of chemical elements. The magnetic fields that protect the planet would disappear, exposing Earth to lethal cosmic radiation. If this process has really already begun, it is possible that we are already experiencing the first signs of this transition. And when the collapse reaches its maximum point, there will be no escaping the coming rebirth of the universe. The possibility of a new Big Bang isn't just an abstract theory. It's being taken seriously by some of the biggest names in science. Stephen Hawking, one of the most brilliant physicists in history, suggested that the universe could be trapped in an infinite cycle of expansion and contraction. According to him, the universe may be in a temporary state of growth, but this cycle can be interrupted if fundamental forces, such as dark energy, lose stability. In this scenario, gravity would take control, initiating a gravitational collapse that would culminate in a new singularity, a point of infinite density that would trigger a new Big Bang. Roger Penrose, another renowned physicist, proposed the theory of conformal cyclical cosmology, which suggests that the universe goes through successive cycles of birth and destruction. Penrose believes signs of this cycle are already visible in unusual patterns detected in the cosmic microwave background. He argues that these patterns may be residue from a previous universe that collapsed in on itself before being reborn. For Penrose, black holes may be carrying traces of past universes, and Hawking radiation, the radiation emitted by black holes, could be direct evidence of this eternal cycle. Additionally, some scientists are using computer simulations to try to predict the behavior of the universe in a gravitational collapse scenario. Mathematical models show that if the cosmic balance is disrupted, gravity could begin pulling galaxies towards the center of the universe, generating a cascade of destructive events that would culminate in a new Big Bang. The most frightening thing is that this phase of collapse can begin in a subtle way, with almost imperceptible changes in the speed at which galaxies move away. If this theory is correct, it means the universe could be following an inevitable script, a cycle of destruction and rebirth that has happened countless times before. But what if what scientists are discovering is even scarier? What if the next cycle has already begun, and we're stuck in a countdown to the next Big Bang? If you've made it this far, it's because this type of reflection moves you, just like it moves me. Then, don't forget to leave a like right now. This not only shows that this content impacted you, but also makes YouTube deliver this video to more people who, like you, are looking for answers about the mysteries of the universe. Your like is what keeps this type of content alive. So click the button, and together, let's try to understand what the future or the next cycle holds for us. But if this is true, what will really happen when this cycle comes to an end? What exists after the end of everything? If the universe really is stuck in an eternal cycle of expansion and collapse, what would happen after the final collapse? The most intuitive answer would be that the universe would simply disappear, that space, time, and all matter would be reduced to a point of infinite density and cease to exist. But some physicists believe that the end of a universe could actually be the beginning of something completely new. The next universe may not just be a repeat of the current one. It could be something entirely different, with laws of physics we can't even imagine. Some scientists believe that the energy released in the final collapse could trigger the formation of a new universe in a separate reality. In this scenario, space-time could reorganize itself in unpredictable ways, creating a new set of physical laws. In this new universe, gravity, time, and even the nature of matter itself could work in completely different ways than we know. String theory suggests that our universe may be just one of many membranes, or brains floating in a higher dimensional space. In this model, the final collapse could cause a collision between these brains, releasing enough energy to generate a new Big Bang in a parallel dimension. This would mean that the end of our universe would not be the absolute end, but rather the trigger for the birth of another, or even multiple universes simultaneously. The most disturbing thing is that the new universe could be completely isolated from ours, with no connection to the previous cycle. Everything that existed in this universe, galaxies, stars, planets, entire civilizations, could disappear forever without leaving a trace. But there is also an even more extreme hypothesis. The new universe could carry fragments of information from the previous cycle. If quantum information can somehow transcend the collapse, then fragments of our existence could continue in some form, influencing the structure and behavior of the new universe. If this theory is right, it raises an even deeper question. Could the very essence of existence survive this cycle? If quantum information truly can be preserved, the continuity of existence could transcend the physical end of the universe. This would open up the possibility that consciousness, or some form of existence, could manifest in a new cycle, in a new universe, even if the physical form has already been destroyed. If the end isn't really the end, what's waiting on the other side? If the collapse of the universe really happens, would humanity be doomed to extinction, or would there be a chance of survival? When we talk about the end of the universe, it's easy to imagine that everything would be destroyed in a fraction of a second. But what if it's not that simple? What if somehow humanity can find a way to escape or even adapt to a new Big Bang? Science is already beginning to explore some possibilities that seem straight out of a science fiction film, but which may be the only real way out to guarantee the continuity of the human species. One of the most daring theories suggests that wormholes could be used as escape routes to other realities. Wormholes are theoretical tunnels that could allow humanity to move to a new region of space-time or even a completely new universe. If technology advances enough to create or stabilize a wormhole, we could escape to safety before total collapse happens. The challenge, however, would be to develop a way to traverse these passages without being destroyed by the extreme gravity and unknown forces operating around these tunnels. Another possibility would be to escape through interstellar travel. If the collapse of the universe begins gradually, we might have time to abandon the solar system and seek refuge in a more stable region of the cosmos. To achieve this, humanity would need to develop ships capable of traveling at speeds close to that of light and resisting extreme cosmic radiation. Some theories suggest that advanced extraterrestrial civilizations could have already discovered ways to carry out this type of displacement, and that the secret to survival could lie in connecting with a technologically superior species. But what if survival does not depend on the body, but on the mind? The idea of transfer of consciousness suggests that we could escape the physical collapse of the universe by storing the human mind in an advanced digital simulation. If a powerful enough machine could create a perfect simulation of a virtual universe, we could transfer our consciousness into this artificial reality, living in a digital environment while the physical universe falls apart. This hypothesis raises a disturbing question. If the mind were transferred into a simulation, would it still be us? Or just a soulless copy, condemned to an infinite existence in a synthetic world? There is still another, more extreme possibility: adapt the very nature of humanity to survive the collapse. If science reaches a level advanced enough to manipulate space-time, we could create a post-biological life form based on quantum matter or forms of pure energy. In this hypothesis, human consciousness could be transformed into a state of existence that does not depend on physical matter, allowing us to survive even if the universe were destroyed and restarted. The idea that the universe could simply collapse and be reborn in a completely different way is disturbing but fascinating at the same time. And the strangest thing of all is that the signs that this may already be happening are everywhere. Now you need to share this video with that friend who keeps talking about the mysteries of the universe. Few people have access to this type of information. You are part of a select group that is truly seeing beyond common reality. Because if the cycle has really started, it's not something you want to discover on your own. If the universe really is stuck in an eternal cycle of destruction and rebirth, it changes everything we believe about existence. What does this mean for us? Is the very essence of humanity capable of surviving beyond matter, beyond time, and beyond the reality we know? If the next Big Bang is already underway, what will be left of us when this cycle ends? Perhaps the question is not whether the universe will be reborn, but if we'll be there to witness the next beginning. Now I want to hear from you. What crazy hypothesis about the universe has crossed your mind? Do you think there is a way to escape this cycle? Or are we stuck in an inescapable cosmic script? Comment below, because the best theories can become a video here on the channel. Who knows, maybe your idea is exactly what's missing to unravel the universe's next mystery. If you've made it this far, it's because this type of content moves you, just like it moves me. Then subscribe to the channel now. Being part of this is more than watching videos. It's embarking on a journey through theories and discoveries that challenge everything we know about the universe. Here, every question leads to a new mystery, and there's so much more waiting to be explored. Each theory, each discovery takes you beyond what the eyes can see. Don't miss what's coming, and what you just saw is just the beginning. The next revelation could change everything we know about the universe. If this has already left you intrigued, wait until you see what comes next. Some answers lead to even more mysterious questions, and you're about to discover what the cosmos is still hiding from us. Get ready, The next mystery is already waiting for you.